I bossed up so big that I was able to earn over $4.3 million in one calendar year. Most people don't really love when I say this, but I'm not most people. There was trauma in my success. I got robbed checking out a venue in broad daylight. Gun to my head. That could have went two different ways. It was a crazy moment in my life because it was like this little girl that grew up overnight. Whatever protected me when I was younger, whether it was a relationship, whether it was my mom or my dad, it was literally like, no one's gonna save you.
You said, if you want to have $1 million brand, you've got to think like someone who owns $1 million brand.
I work with a lot of people that don't have a lot of followers on social media, so my job is to help them.
If I search your name online, this is what it told me when I did it. It said, Nathalie Nicole Smith is a multi-millionaire entrepreneur, author, and philanthropist in the beauty and wellness industry. So that's where I started. I then did more of my own research, and I found that there's much more to the story. On your Instagram, I found this caption from November 19th, 2023. You said, I remember when I was 205 pounds. I was so sad, and it was more than just my weight. My life was in shambles emotionally. For the first time, money wasn't an issue, and things still weren't right. And so it was like, when I read that, I was like, okay, we have to start there. For the first time, money wasn't an issue, and things still weren't right. Take me back to that season, that period of your life. What were you feeling at that time?
Well, at that moment, I was just dealing with a lot of anxiety. And I'm definitely a Christian woman. I pray, I do all the things, I trust God, but I couldn't shake anxiety in that season. And it was anxiousness of returning back to the life I escaped from. It was anxiousness from the unknown of the future. It was all the things that was the opposite of faith. So in that very moment, as strong as I thought I was in my faith, I was just a baby in it, and I was trying to figure it out. And I was dealing with my new identity, because I remember in that the photo was from 2020. So latter 2020, I got robbed at gunpoint about September. Then I gained 50 pounds like in 90 days. Crazy.
Yeah.
So I was reflecting in 2023 how life was in that first photo. A lot of times when you're in it, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee the trauma. You can't unsee the pain. So 2023, out of it, I was like, wow, what a dark place I was in.
You know what? I didn't read this part when I first read out the caption, but you went on to say, from gunpoint robbery, friendship breakups, to relationship breakups, to intense business changes, things just got crazy for me.
Crazy.
Where did... There's so much there in what even I just read out. In your mind, reflecting on it, and hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? Where did that start? That kind of like, that downward kind of anxious spiral, like what was the beginning in your mind?
I would love to say we're in hindsight, but I feel like I'm still overcoming the trauma from that, right? I think that when you're dealing with life, you really have to pick apart, like, okay, back to your question. This is where it began, Nathalie. Let's sit in this real quick. How did it happen? So in that season of my life, all transparency, I was just struggling, you know? I was a bottle service girl, Howard University graduate, salon owner. I'm a big dreamer and thinker. So in that very moment, I looked at my life like we escaped from that, right? And how did we get here? How did we get here, Nathalie? You got here by moving too fast and not keeping God first. That's the full accountability that you have to take right now. But in that season, I refused to take accountability. I refused to really digest that it's your fault, essentially. You are not even the girl that's flashy. You're not really that girl that cares about material things. You literally conform to the world. And now God has given you a little reminder who he is. And where your help comes from. So in that season of my life, network marketing blew up for me. The very thing that everybody said it was a scam and all the things, I worked hard and I got the results. I worked so hard, I bossed up so big that I was able to earn over $4.3 million in one calendar year. Let's go back a little bit. The year before that, I earned $400,000. I went from $400,000, right? In the latter part of the year is when I earned, I was like making like maybe six figures every year, 100,000, 200,000. The latter part of the year is when my business started blowing up. My life drastically changed. Most people don't really love when I say this, but I'm not most people. There was trauma in my success. I didn't come from riches and wealth. I wasn't taught financial literacy. I came from a home that financially struggled. Great mother. My dad did his best, but he was not in my home. I was raised with my Trinidadian grandmother and my mom that worked probably over 50 to 60 hours a week. Raised in church, all the things. But all of my life, I wanted to be financially free. So my dream of financial freedom was not my reality.
You know what? We're gonna get into it. But one of the first things that you said in this conversation, you said that you're a Christian woman.
I am.
I've even heard other interviews that I've seen. I think he called you a self-made millionaire. You said, no, I'm a God-made millionaire.
I am.
And it's interesting because even in your story, you said there was a point in time where you were like distracted, and you said God reminded me to return to him. That reminder, what are you referring to? Is that that's the robbery?
He always reminds me. Like, I always ask like myself, like, okay, Nathalie, like every time you try to like go off to another path, it's like he loves us so much, right? We're praying and we're asking him for things, and he literally doesn't forget our prayers. So every single time I go to this like side road, he's like, we're going to go back over here. So he's reminding me that I am his child, that I don't need the things of the world to be important to build a brand. You know, Colin, when I was a young girl, I didn't even realize I had a brand. I would tell my friends, oh, I have this. I'm selling this candy. I'm doing this. They're like, Nathalie, I want to come. So the Lord always reminds me that I don't have to like be the girl on social media that's like gaslighting or leading with a Lamborghini or leading with a Birkin bag or leading with this and that. I can be my authentic self at all times, and I can reach his people. And whoever wants to buy something from me will be my customer, my client, my friend, my partner. He will give me all the desires of my heart. So every time he reminds me of this very thing is when I forget that foundation in my life.
You know what? Speaking about the robbery in 2020, you said in that space, my life changed. I didn't get robbed of my jewelry because I could buy more of that. I got robbed of my confidence. I got robbed of my bravery. I got robbed of my joy. I got robbed of my happiness. I got robbed of so much in that one moment of life. Can you just, because it feels like even when I was just hearing your story, that was like a seminal moment. Like everything that happened after that was different. Can you describe the lead up to that, and then what happened, and then why it was so impactful?
Yeah, I was like, it's in the middle of the pandemic. Everyone has masks on. I don't really think I understood the severity of COVID. Like, I was in the house. I was prioritizing my health. I was losing weight and doing all the things, but I was so busy helping so many people. It took away the severity of what was going on in the world for me. You get what I'm saying? I was burying the reality of the world with just work and impact and all the things, keeping myself so busy. So in that season, I was just ready for like a family and do all the things. And I had a friend, a long-term friend. He was a great friend. And we're still, cool to this day. We're still friends to this day. He actually is in one of my businesses, network marketing still. I literally was like, you know what? I want to be in a relationship. He wants to be in a relationship. I want to be in a relationship. But one person I did not consult with was the Lord. My flesh wanted to be in a relationship. So I hit this high point in my life financially. Imagine, I want you to go through time with me. 600 square foot apartment, $100,000 a week. Crazy. Then you're like, oh my gosh, is it real? The next week, $155,000. The next week, $145,000. The next week, $116,000. We don't make any medical claims, but let's be for real. I wasn't netting that in a year. So my mind, I'm like, oh, it's time to get married and have kids and get the picket fence that I never had. Like, that's what I want. That's what my flesh wanted. So my reality check in that season was when I went to Houston, no financial worries. I can fall in love and do all the things. But the Lord was like, Like, let's not move so fast now. And I'm not saying God got me robbed, but I would say that my negligence did, because I was jewelry on, Lamborghini truck, literally in La La Land. That's not Nathalie. I've always been very aware. I literally let my guards down, not just for my safety, but my street smart. My spirit smart. Nathalie, should you go to this location to go check out this venue? I got robbed checking out a venue to go put on an event for people in broad daylight. Gun to my head. The young boy was scared and nervous. That could have went two different ways. And it's nothing but the grace of God that I'm still here right now. And I'm able to speak about this story in strength now. But for so long, I was in a season of my life where I couldn't unsee the gun to my head. I was scared of my own shadow. I was scared of anybody that was around me that I wasn't comfortable with. I was nervous. This happened for years. That hunted me for years. And as a Christian woman, the conflict was, I know that faith and fear can't operate in the same space. I know that if you give it to God, He heals the broken heart. I understand all the prayers, but did I believe that my Lord and Savior can restore me? It took me stepping outside my body and me realizing I'm tired of running away from my reality. And that it numbed me. I stopped working. I got very obsessed with self-care. Every day I was fighting for my life. Every day.
You talk about faith and like being restored. And it's interesting because I think in those difficult moments and like seasons of our life, it's like your level of faith is like tested to the max.
Right.
And I think about one of the things that I heard you say this. You said, as much as I loved God, I was mad. I was mad that like, God, why would you wait all of these years and then put me through something like this? And I think about that visual that you mentioned of like, and I can't even imagine what that's like, of someone holding a gun to your head. And it's like, how do you even reconcile that in your mind? Like, how do you even make sense and recover from something like that?
Especially when you weren't raised in an environment where you were always fearful of your life. See, my reality is that although my economics didn't match like my reality, I was going to a Jewish-based school. I went to private school, and then went to a public school. You know, it was a mixed school, very diversified. I was probably the darkest girl there, you know. My reality was not prepared for that moment, right? Some people told me online, get over it, people get robbed every day. Ma'am, people do not get robbed every day. You get what I'm saying? So when you are in an environment where I guess you're always looking over your shoulder all the time, and I'm not saying I live my life just like dilly-dallying, no. I went to Howard University. Howard is in the hood, you know? But I knew that if I walked down the street by myself, then I was putting myself in that environment. So I had a reality check for me that, okay, gun to your head, you could have lost your life. There was no level of gratitude in the moment of life is still here. There was no the process of you're still alive. That wasn't it. It was like you could have died. Gun to your head. They stole all this jewelry from me, which I didn't really, you know what? The jewelry wasn't even a thing for me. It was like, oh, this is what the world is like. You know, you look at the news and you're like, whoa, this is a reality. Like there's really bad people in the world. And I know that sounds very gullible or like all the things, but that was really my reality. It's like, oh, we have to carry guns. Why do I have to carry a gun? Oh, Texas is a state where you are licensed to carry, or you don't have to be licensed. You can literally, I'm in the mall and people have like literally guns. I'm like, okay, this is not my dream life. And I was more so like trying to figure out, Lord, how do we get here? Like, it wasn't even about the robbery so much anymore. It was me realizing, oh, this is the world. And it was a crazy moment in my life because it was like this little girl that grew up overnight. Whatever protected me when I was younger, whether it was a relationship, whether it was my mom or my dad, it was literally like, oh, you're a big girl now and no one's gonna save you. The only person that's going to save you is God. And if you don't get yourself together and pray before you do things, this world might not work out for you. And that was a tough one for me because I was so independent. I went from being so independent to like, I'm staying in the house. That was my new life.
Yeah. It's like you saw the world for what it actually is.
For the first time.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy because I worked in the club. My boyfriend was in the streets. Like, you know, it is crazy. Although, you know, and again, I'm not ashamed of my story. Like, my boyfriend, when I was a young girl, was always in the streets, right? When I say street, the streets, right? But I guess the whatever they say, the street code back in the days, like, you know, women are off limits and babies are too. Well, that wasn't the case anymore. And he wasn't there to save me, right? But guess what I realized? He wasn't always there to save me. The Lord always saved me. You get what I'm saying? So my trust was in man of saving me. And I realized, no, Nathalie, all your life, these dumb decisions you made, you always tested your safety. Now it's time to learn. So I had to really dig into that. And that was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. You know what? You said friendship breakups to relationship breakup to intense business changes. Would you say after that, the robbery and the fallout from that, did things, like, were those all directly tied? Like, did things start to kind of spiral in your life pretty rapidly?
I'm talking about blow for blow, back to back. It was, I couldn't catch a break. But again, accountability. At the time the guy was dating, we were just friends. We never went through a process of dating. We never went through a process of pursuing me. A phone call, a FaceTime is not pursuing. And as a woman that values herself and know what I deserve, it wasn't even on him, it was me. You get what I'm saying? That was first accountability. I'm in network marketing to this day in Total Life Changes. We're a direct sales company. We sell vitamins, right? And wellness products. I cultivated some really great friendships in that company. We made a lot of money together. But we were a part of a community in that season that really, honestly, I did my light to fit into that community. I took mentorship and coaching, and I took all the things way too far. But somewhere down the line, the emotional constraint literally took over my mind. So I'm a great friend. In that season, I was not a great friend. I'm a great leader. In that season, I was not a great leader. I usually make great decisions. In that season, I did not make great decisions. And I could have stopped. I could have literally released ego and used my mind and the Holy Spirit to save those relationships. So there were two innocent girls, and we both played a role, right? But let's take accountability for me. A sorry, I apologize, a phone call, hey, let's sit down, I messed up. If someone's your friend, beyond money, you should take the high road and apologize, say you're sorry. And whether they receive it or not, it's okay. We created so many great memories together. And we went on this reality TV show, which that's a whole nother story. That was one of the worst decisions of my life. That was like just the icing on the cake for me. Reality TV show, production, stage situations, a mess. Because my real life was in jeopardy. And when your real life is in jeopardy and you're trying to perform for a television show, nothing goes right during that time. Yeah. So I guess I'm deemed as an influencer, but I walked away from that title to become a child of God again. Because when you're a child of God and you're living by his core values and his principles, you don't need reality TV for fame. And that was my reality. And when I got full control over my poor decisions, that's when accountability happened. That's when phone calls happened years later. I'm sorry. We're still not friends to this day, And, certain things you got to just let go, right? But my heart is pure. And I know that my sorry wasn't from like manipulation or I need you to do anything for me. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I treated you like that. And I pray that you can be a great friend to the next woman because you are a good person.
Yeah. You know what? It sounds like in that season, what happened is that you got misaligned. You got misaligned from your original purpose.
Absolutely.
And so, what's interesting to me, and you mentioned it right in the beginning of the conversation. You spoke about before the robbery, you make $4.3 million in your first year of business, and you're kind of like $155,000 in a week, and things are going so well from a financial standpoint, and you're starting to think about family and marriage and all of these things. And I can even, when you talk about it and speak about it, I can see your eyes light up. And so I'm curious about I want to get the context of, like, you even mentioned how you grew up and your family. Why do you think in your mind, when you even reflect on it, why was that so special to you? Of like the as soon as your life was financially set, it was like marriage, family. What was the origin of that?
You know what? It's so crazy you say this because after like full circle moment, my grandparents right now are 94 and 91. My mom and dad like probably between 63, 65, something like that. I was so misaligned and so ready to escape my reality and create a new one that the people that mattered the most to me, I was running from. And I think I was trying to create a new life. And when I think about my life, I think about all the girls that like are trying to figure it out, women, young boys, all the things. you're chasing this like false reality unless you really, because we don't know what the future looks like. And you know, you're living in this life where you're trying to be successful and do all the things. Then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go create it. But that's not a real thing. You know? That's not natural. So in that season of my life, I just wanted to create a new life. I was just like, you know, you don't have to work so hard, struggling, and you can attract quality relationships, and it doesn't have to be surface or transactional. It was like I wanted to create this whole life. Maybe my mom and dad couldn't provide certain things for me, but I was like, you know, I can do that for my family.
When you say that your mom and dad couldn't provide certain things for you, what for you are like the memorable things? Like, what was when I read about your story, it was like you were starting businesses and trying things from like a very early point. And I always, when I see that, I'm like, what is the fire for that? Like, what is the motivation? Like, what's motivating that? What's inspiring it?
Survival. It was just really like, you know, my mom and dad's best gift for me was introducing me to Christ. That's priceless. I wouldn't exchange my childhood for the world. If it wasn't for my childhood, I don't think I'd be the woman I am today. They did a great job for what they had, right? But moving into my reality, it's like, I just wanted to feel like I didn't have to always struggle. And my grandmother stepped in my life, my dad's mother, at a young age. And she always tried to fill the gap. Like, she'll give me like $500, give me a cell phone bill. I'm paying my cell phone bill, Nokia, I think it was the time, a Sprint or something like that. And she just wanted me to feel normal, right? But the reality is, my mom just didn't have extra money to like position me in that season like my friends, you know? So the scarcity mindset like haunted me. Even when I made my first 6 figures at 22 years old, I was selling hair. I opened up my first salon, I was 22 years old. It was a scarcity mindset that I've had for so long. So the moment that life was starting to let up a little bit, I was still in balance.
Yeah. You know what? It's even, I heard you say, even reflecting on your childhood, you said, I'm the black girl that has dark skin that's called pretty for a black girl, a dark-skinned girl. And at that very moment, I realized I was different. And I took that. I was proud of being different. Talk to me kind of like, even that, almost like that othering of like you're different from everyone else that you grow up with, or like the other kids in the classroom. What is the impact of that? Okay, quick break. After having this conversation, I wanted to make sure that we shared with you actionable ways you can start building your brand. And so what I found is that one of the biggest challenges with doing that is knowing the latest trends and what is working. And so we partnered with HubSpot to build a free guide called AI at Work. Essentially, it explains how the best marketers are using AI to build their brands today. It's 25 real plays that you can copy and implement when you're building your brand. I'm talking about step-by-step explanations on things like how to create your unique brand style, how to make your content more consistent, how to plan campaigns faster, even how to write better. And so if you want the guide, it's completely free. Just go to the link in the description below to access it. Thanks again to our friends at HubSpot. Let's get back to the episode. Okay, so we've done over 150 episodes of this show. And one of the things that I've learned from the entrepreneurs that we've spoken to is that as you grow, you've got to get really good at delegating work and becoming more efficient. But here's the thing. No longer does delegating work mean giving tasks to just humans. With AI, we now have agents completing boring, routine tasks. Well,
I'm not a software engineer and I'm not an AI whiz, but I did use Lindy AI to build my first AI agent. And so what Lindy does is they help you build custom AI agents in minutes with no coding experience required. You can start from a template, give it a goal like help me manage my content calendar, or create a research assistant that tracks industry news every week. And Lindy will generate a working AI agent that connects to tools, remembers context, even completes tasks end to end. You can then turn that agent into a shareable app like a booking system, a lead generator, or client portal, and then launch it instantly. And so if you want to learn how to actually build and deploy AI agents, not just talk to them, go to go.lindy.ai/Callum Johnson and get $20 worth of credits for free. That's go.lindy.ai/Callum Johnson. Thank you to Lindy for sponsoring this episode. Let's get back to it.
In all honesty, I don't think I truly embraced that till college. When I was a young girl, I mean, I was curvy, like my hair was more coarser than others. It was like curly coarse, but it was still not straight, Everybody was getting relaxers. My mom was like, I couldn't get a relaxer. I'm like, what is up with you? So I wanted to fit in, but my mom was not having it. Really. She just was like, you're not going to wear this. You're not going to do this. And it was just very strict. I grew up in a very strict household. So at a young age, I knew I was different. I was like, yeah, we're just not able to have as much fun as everybody else, right? I had to figure out what fun really was. Even at my adult age, I kind of have challenges with what is fun, So at a young age, I realized, okay, you have dark skin, you have oval eyes. So I think that at a young age, I didn't realize that culturally wise, my family was Trinidadian, Guyanese, and American. Culturally wise, at a young age, I didn't really know about African studies. We learned about the Holocaust. We were celebrating Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, So going to a historically Black college, that's when I realized, this is lit. That's when I kind of grew into my looks and, guys liked me when I was a young girl, but it was more surface to me, So I always knew I was different. When guys would try to talk to me or kiss me or do all the things, I was so scared because my mom and dad were strict. So I was like, this is not good, But I knew that at a young age that there was something different about me. And I was very unique in my own right because I was I was a salesy girl. I was a leader at a young age. A lot of the teachers will say, oh, we're going to nominate Nathalie to do this. And I'm like, okay. I was part of Leadership Training Institute at my school, John F. Kennedy. So I was always just doing something, But I don't think I embraced the confidence of that till I got to college.
Mm. You know what? It's because I want to get onto one of the things that we even spoke about before this is you're a great brand builder. The approach that you take to building brand. And you'd even mentioned, because you've had different businesses and things that you've started, but I feel at the center of those has been the brand. That's been the thing that's endured. And so I want to give that information and knowledge that you have to people. But before we do, one of the things that you spoke about was the scarcity mindset. And I think about that because it's I think when you come from an environment and you have a context where you were struggling, sometimes it's so difficult to even be aware of it. It's so difficult to even see the times in your life when you're actually behaving or acting from that scarcity mindset. And so when you talk about struggle and scarcity mindset, is there a point in your life that you look at where you're that's when it was just at its peak, that's when it was just it was on full display, the scarcity, and maybe at the time you didn't know it was coming out, but it was.
I think that when you don't have money, you work with what you have. You get what I'm saying? I think that from a young age in entrepreneurship, I literally will make a little go a long ways. So when I opened up my first beauty salon, I only had $20,000, and the rent was $3,000, and he made me pay 2 months. That's $6,000. So the renovation was $10,000. That's 10 plus 6, that's $16,000. I got 4 more thousand, right? So I always knew that I need to make some more money, every day. I've always been like that. So scarcity mindset didn't really happen until I started making a lot more money. I think that what happened in that season was I started to be exposed to not the finer things in life. When you open up a business, you work with a budget, right? When you start to have cash flow coming in, you start to think big and crazy. I'm gonna go to Pakistan and India and open a factory.
Yeah.
You start to be like, okay, I'm gonna make my own camera. Who says that, right? But you start to dream super big, and I'm just a big dreamer, and I'm an executor. So I believe that the scarcity mindset was you have to be successful right now. And you gotta do it big. You gotta make $1 billion. Right? Nothing's off limits. And I even to this day, I literally think big, right? I'm always, and that goes back to the question you asked me about scarcity and the branding. I feel like because my brand is so clear, Nathalie Nicole is the brand, I now am developing, okay, you deserve abundance, you deserve joy, you deserve all the fruits of the spirit. You don't have to have a scarcity mindset anymore. Because when you understand that if you work and you attract and you pray and you do all the things, not just pray and do nothing. If I pray and I work and I'm a kind person and I choose to have joy every day, there is no way God is not going to order my steps. It's just not possible. But that goes back to belief. And the more and more I grow and I age and do all the things, if I can tell young Nathalie anything, it's Nathalie, keep God first and keep your foot on the gas. Because scarcity won't be a thing if you don't let up. But when you let up, like I did when I got robbed, it's you have to build your muscle again. You got to get that, that fortitude, and you have to get that resilience. You got to big yourself up again. You literally have to reset your entire life. At this point, I think I'm probably a guru in it, I had to rebuild my entire life because I did not want to go back to scarcity.
Yeah. You know what? You said something, I think I read this on your Instagram, and the moment that I read it, I was like, I have to give it back to her. You said, I've come to realize most girls don't want a lot. We just want to feel good again. We want our bodies to feel light, our minds to feel clear, our hearts to feel safe. We want to lose the weight, not just the physical kind, but the emotional kind.
So good.
We want to make money, not for status, but for peace. We want to be closer to God, not because we're perfect, but because we're healing. What inspires you to write something like that?
I think I should be a poet. In that moment, I just how I keep myself in gratitude and present. Cause I gotta stay present. I can literally be in 2060. I'm I don't know what's gonna happen there, but sometimes I'm thinking about the future. So I like to say to myself, what do the girls want, Nat? What do the girls really love? We want peace. We want love. We want joy. We want real love that's pure. We don't want transactional relationships. We want to love without fear. We want to have fun again. We want to make money without compromising our soul. The girls really want to align with God's principles for our life. We don't want to have to compromise. But what happens is, if you don't remind yourself of what you truly desire, you end up getting influenced by social media. So I have to always reel myself back in. That's why my posts are so raw, honestly. I'm intentional about not being perfect online. When the girls look at me, I want them to say, yeah, she's my sis. You know? Like, yes, we're gonna be friends one day. And I want that because I wish in my lowest season of my life, someone would call me and say, girl, we're gonna get the peace, we're gonna get the joy, we're gonna get the love. Don't chase, we attract. Like, I wish someone told me that. And I'm not saying I didn't have great friends in that season. I don't really think they were aware of how low I was because I was functionally depressed. And when you're functionally depressed, you can be in the room unless somebody really can feel you and be aware of who you really are because they know you. But nowadays, we don't even know each other. We know who we think the person is.
Yeah. Was there a moment where it got really dark for you?
Yeah, I love the Lord, but the same way I love the Lord, I was suicidal. And it took me after getting over it to say, oh yeah, you were dark. And dark was not a walking thing for me. It was by yourself. I was like, yeah, maybe I don't need to be here on this earth. Yeah, maybe I was just here just to help people make money. Or maybe they're just here just to like feel hope again or whatever it is. That's dark. To say you're not needed in the world, that is dark. When you lose a sense of hope, that is dark. When you lose a sense of value for your life, that is dark. That's a dark person. I think that sometimes people equate darkness when someone out loud looks a certain way. You got to check on your friends. You got to check on your family members. You got to check on people. When I'm in the car with somebody, when I'm around somebody in the elevator, how are you today? Are you okay? It's free to ask somebody, are you okay? So for me, yeah, I was functionally depressed and I was literally like okay with just being functionally depressed. And what happened was I was really losing my mind. I was just running. Get a place in Miami, get a place in LA, do wild things, give this person money, pay this person's rent. Like I literally did not care anymore.
You said you were suicidal. I'm curious, even in that quote that I read out, you said, girls, we want to be light. You remember that first time you felt light again? You felt that happiness again?
Yeah, well, I remember the first time I felt that dark. And I was looking at my balcony. I was living in this $4.5 million condo. I was looking at my balcony. I was like, if I jump off this balcony, it's going to be a mess. I wasn't even thinking about myself. I was like, it's kids here. I was like, it's going to be a mess. At that very moment, I said, you need to get some help. I rehired Lisa Nichols. Shout out to Lisa Nichols. Amazing coach. I reached out to my company, Total Life Changes, and said, hey, I need a break. I need a moment. They said, well, we're going to still talk to you. Mr. Lacari said, I'm going to still talk to you every week. When I start decompartmentalizing my light column, I literally got light again. Because the weight of the world starts to be like segmented for me. The things I thought I had to show up for and perform for, it was not a thing anymore. I can live for Nathalie. I can wake up, I can pray, I can have praise and worship. I don't have to rush and answer my phone for anybody. And that's the moment I felt light again. It was 2023, honestly. It was 2023. 2022, I thought I was getting better, but it was 2023.
Yeah.
For sure. 2023 was like, I'm that girl again. I was back. Kind of. I was physically and emotionally back. Financially, I really didn't feel like working anymore, but I had to get that hustle back again. That's when I felt light again.
Yeah. You know what I think about just hearing that, and thank you for sharing that, is there's someone listening at home right now that they're in that moment. Like they're in that spot. And I think the to your point, the danger of it is that usually when we're in that spot in silence.
You are.
We're like in that spot alone, and people might, you said it, functionally depressed. People might look at you and be like, oh, Nathalie's good. Like, she's fine, she's doing all the things that she usually does. But for you internally, it's like, something is off. And so I have to ask you this, which is for that human being that's sitting at home and they're in that moment where they're like questioning things to that extent. And they've just kind of like lost hope, even with their own meaning, with their own value, with their own worth in this world. What would be your word of advice as someone who was there and has come out of the other side of that?
Man, every day gets better. And for that person that feels like that, it's like, if you keep asking God for one more day, it starts to get better, brighter, clearer. And when I start asking God, give me peace, give me joy, give me love, give me the ability to feel again. Give me the ability to make better decisions, Lord. Give me one more day. And then I even created a little community. It was really for me, a day at a time. Because when you take it a day at a time, that's when you really can digest your reality. But if you take it like, okay, I want to be married, I want to have children, I want to be successful, I want to have franchises, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that, you're not taking it a day at a time, and you're not being grateful for what you have. That was enough for me. I said, you have to stop thinking about a month at a time. It's a day at a time. And I stopped planning out my years because I essentially love planning out my life. And it wasn't adding up anymore. The things I thought was going to happen at certain ages was not happening. But so many cool things happened. I've accomplished so much in life. I'm so grateful. But there was no gratitude when I didn't take it a day at a time.
Win the days. That's powerful. You know what? I was reading your book, The $1 Million Brand. And right in the beginning of the book, you said this. You said, I help women to become more confident and independent in every area of their lives, from business to health to wellness. And you then go on to say, over the years, I discovered that the majority of my success has stemmed from building a solid multi-million-dollar personal brand.
Yeah, all day. Like, I laugh when people say, oh, you did network marketing for 10 years. Yeah. But if it wasn't for a personal brand, before I went to network marketing, if it wasn't for a personal brand, before I started my salon, I would never have survived any of these businesses. People buy into the person and they buy into whatever they sell. And if people just understand when you have core values for your own life and you don't compromise your core values to sell things for money, and you align yourself with things you actually like and believe in, you will make money.
Mm. You know what? Here's where I wanted to begin. Because as I was reading the book, and I love the place that you started it at, which is belief, like the importance of belief. Because I think when people are listening at home, and maybe they even have a certain level of success in what they're doing, but building an impactful, profitable personal brand would take what they're doing now to a whole nother level.
A whole nother level.
It would differentiate them from everyone else, from their peers, from competitors. And so this is what you said. You said your brand is your identity. It's how people will recognize your business and distinguish you from competitors. And it all starts with your belief system. Can you explain what that means? When you say belief system, what are you referring to?
I just stand on belief and having faith. Like I met some incredible people in the world. So incredible. But the reality is, knowing what I know now in life, no matter how big you get, if you don't have belief, you're not gonna have longevity. So let's go back to belief. I believe in God, I believe in myself, and I believe in what I do. Let's go back. My help comes from the Lord, but I also have to show up and believe in myself. I can't wait for a brand manager or publicists or all these different people that want to work with a brand, quote unquote, to believe in me more than I believe in myself. I brokerage a lot of my own brand deals. I brokerage a lot of my partnerships. I say yes and no to a lot of podcasts and things I don't want to do because I believe in my brand and I know I can't compromise it. So no matter if you said, hey, Nathalie, I'll pay you $25,000. If your brand was not credible and have integrity, I wouldn't do it. No, you know? So if someone doesn't have belief in themselves and they feel like they need somebody else to carry them along, then they're going to always compromise their brand for money. And if you're not selling something you really believe in, why are you selling it? Because everybody else is doing it? Because what happens is, what I do know is consistency pays off. I know this like the back of my hand. If you are consistent and if you believe in what you do and if you treat people well, you're going to be successful. I know this.
You know what? And I'm gonna be with the audience and the person at home for a second, because I've had so many of these conversations, and especially like you run like a digital marketing agency, and I'm sure that when you speak with clients and you even speak about beliefs and how you differentiate yourself in the market, the thing and where people typically go is, how do I figure out what my unique beliefs or my belief system is? And so when you're speaking with clients, how do you get them to that answer? Because the thing is, when I listen to you, is that you kind of know who you are. Like, it's very clear for you. I think for a lot of people, especially when they're starting out in marketing, it's not clear for them what their beliefs are.
Those are my favorite clients. I work with a lot of people that don't have a lot of followers on social media. Most of my clients, they have success in their own right, like whatever, maybe their career path or whatever they have going on, right? So my job is to help them develop that. Like, what are your core values? So when someone hires me, we do brand development. We go from auditing their business and their brand is their business, auditing their business, which is their brand. And that's a whole nother conversation, because people come to me and say, well, I want to build my brand. I don't have one. You are the brand. Do you want to make some money? Do you want some cash flow? Do you want to monetize this? That's your business. Then next, we go into a strategy. And then we help them find their unique selling proposition, what they love, what their core values are, what their offer is. Then we go into implementation, and this is how we're going to do it. So I really think that sometimes you don't have to know it all, but aligning with an expert and aligning with people that done it before, whether it's reading books, YouTube videos, all the things, you can get more clarity on how to build your brand. And for me, when I started building my brands, yes, all I had was really God. I didn't have any money, But the reality is, and I didn't have my core values, I will align with anything that was for money. When I was a young girl, I'll do listen, can I rent your store out to sell car wash equipment? I don't know. I'm like, yeah. How much?
Yeah.
Right? Like, can we do a hookah party? Nothing against the hookah people, okay? But I'm just not a hookah girly,
Yeah.
So, but now I only align with things I believe in. And I don't judge anybody, but I just know for me, I'm not passionate about things that I don't believe in, So a lot of clients that come my way, if they don't pre-qualify to work directly with me, they'll get some of our done-for-you services, like just websites. But I'm a strategist, so I help them scale and to monetize their brand.
You know what? You said something earlier that I just think was so good. You said faith and fear can't operate in the same arena.
No.
And it's interesting because when we talk about beliefs, the belief is always tested when the thing that's not aligned with your beliefs comes to you, but it doesn't just come by itself. It comes with money, it comes with opportunities. And so I'm curious for you, was there ever any difficulty in when someone comes to you with an opportunity and it's like the money and the opportunity, like everything is there, but it doesn't align with the mission, it doesn't align with your beliefs? Because I see that's somewhere where people get misaligned.
Yeah, so the booking email that's in my bio, I see everything. I don't take a lot of brand deals. Like, I really don't take a lot of brand deals. Like, I don't, like, if I have to create content for something, I have to like it, you know? And then I have to want to create the content. Somebody messaged me and said, hey, can you promote my credit business for $2,000? No, I don't even know if you can do the service that you're speaking about. Do I like money? Yeah, like who doesn't, right? But all money is not good money. And if I believe in myself, I believe that my right fit client will find me. I haven't even like scratched the surface yet. I'm not even the woman that God has called me to be yet. So why would I settle for less? Like, why?
It's an abundance mindset.
It's abundance. And I don't believe, there's so many things in life that I want to do, but now it's God, do you want me to do it? And if he wants me to do it, it's going to feel good. It's going to align. It's not going to be too stressful. So that's what it is. That's why a lot of things that I've done over the years, the reason why people don't see a lot of it online, because I'm still praying for clarity. Like literally, my skincare line, my new business in the Heights, it's a lot going on right now, like big business, right? And I can take a deal right now that can blow it all up, but I have to make sure I don't make a decision that's from my flesh and it's really from, do I believe in this? Because what happens is if you don't believe in what you're selling or what you're aligning with, you're gonna lose interest. And I've done that several times. I've sold things like hair, and after a while, I liked it at first, and I was like, oh, I don't really like this anymore. And people still hit me up to this day, can I buy some hair from you? But I really don't feel like it, you know? But would I build a hair company for somebody else and have some type of percentage of it? For sure. Because I don't have to like running the company, but you can. I'm the business side of it.
And the marketing.
Okay, yeah.
It makes sense. You know, so step one is the belief, and identifying and then putting your beliefs and your core values at the heart of your brand. Step two was mindset. And this is what you said in the book. You said, if you want to have $1 million brand, you've got to think like someone who owns $1 million brand. It's not just about how you think about your brand, it's about how you think, period. Break that down.
So one of my new locations, it's called Greenhouse. And when I first decided to close my location down in the Houston Galleria Mall and reset, I knew I wanted to create an incubator for creators, professionals, and CEOs. And I knew that I loved the WeWork model. And I knew that the WeWork model has its pros and cons. So when I told people about it, they're like, oh no, everyone's doing workspaces and everyone's doing this. And I'm like, who's everybody? You know? So to go back to what you're saying, it's like, in this season of my life, I get really radical about my belief and what I want to do. Like, you love doing what you do. I can tell. Like, even when we were in an interview, you're like, oh, we got to do this. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm like, that's why I don't have a podcast right now. You know, I'm just saying, like, you inspired me. Because if you're going to do it, do it. If someone says, oh, Colin, you know, your podcast, no one makes money from it. Everyone's doing it. That's you, not me. We're different. That's it. Let's change the subject.
I'm sure, like, even when you speak with people, because this is what I hear when I have conversations, and you actually even mentioned it in your book. You said, if you're constantly doubting yourself and your abilities, worrying about what other people think, questioning the value you bring to the table, your brand will suffer in the long run. It's like, here's the difficult thing, Nathalie. It's like, how does someone get over that? Like, that self-doubt. Because I think that's probably the biggest killer of people's personal brand. It's just the doubt is, oh, if someone sees me doing the Instagram story, what are they going to think?
But that goes back to, why do you care? Like, you know, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Like, why does it matter who says whatever? If someone says, oh, Nathalie, you know, when you're working out, you're not really fit yet. And you shouldn't really post those type of photos. That's your opinion. And why I'm saying it like I'm saying it, there were so many years of my life where I allowed people and their opinions to affect my productivity. And I was making like 50, 60,000 a week caring about what people thought. So reality check, if I, Nathalie Nicole Smith, cared about what people thought, and I'm telling you right now, you gotta release the thoughts of those people because it will literally ruin your flow. And it literally almost ruined my flow. It literally stopped a lot of my ideas asking people for their opinion. And when you stop asking for validation from other people and you literally go back to your belief in what you're doing, you can erase it later. Just post it. Be consistent. Share. Get on LinkedIn. Get on Twitter. Get on TikTok. Get on Instagram. Get on Snapchat chat. Do all the things. Get on YouTube. The worst that can happen is that you just stay stagnant because you're not consistent. But it's very few people in this world that are consistent.
You know, it was like, it was actually surprising to me even before, like in the preparation for this episode, because you have over 500,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm like looking through some of your posts and the captions. You are so like honest, and it's so clearly like the way that you post is almost as if you just had your phone in your hand and you were like typing it right then and there, and then it was out. And it's like you have really unlocked for yourself how to remove that like middleman that stops a lot of people from posting, which is, what does the other person think? You said that was something that in the past it would halt your productivity.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you get over that?
I think it was my environment. It wasn't really, so back to what we spoke about, my environment had a lot to do with my confidence. So if everyone's fixing their photos and altering their photos, or if everybody has to have the perfect aesthetic background, like I don't care. I really don't care. And that's the crazy thing about me. I think some people look at me and they're like, oh, judge a book by its cover. I don't like, I got dressed for you today. You know, I wear workout clothes every day. You see me, I got boots on. I am now stepping into my authentic self. I don't want to put on a costume to make other people feel good. I don't want to write and text and do things to make other people feel good. And that might hurt me and that might help me. I don't know yet, right? But the worst that can happen is I try. So for my other pages, my business pages, will it be more developed? Yeah, but this is my page and I sell what I believe in. So go to my bio, figure it out. If you like me, maybe I'm not your girl for marketing or I'm not your girl for branding. I don't know. But I feel as though that if I don't show up as my authentic self, I'm going to attract the wrong person in my life. And I've done that before. And God bless everyone in my life from the past and all the things we've been able to accomplish. But the woman that I am today and where I'm going, we just don't fit. And it's okay. You know, like when you tell yourself it's okay, and God is 8 billion people on the planet. Like you think he's gonna just have you in the corner lonely in your house? No, get out the house and go connect. Like there are mad people in the world that want to be your friend and that want to connect, that want to support you. Matter of fact, too many of them at this point, right? For me, because I'm an introvert, extrovert. So it's kind of like, and I don't like to use the word overstimulating because I've grown, but it was a lot for me stepping into the role of, okay, you have influence. So you need to consistently show up as the real person so people can know, like, yeah, you're really not that, you know? Like, yes, I love women. I'm a girl's girl, but I'm not a girl that hangs out. Two different things. I create the vibes. I create the experiences. You get what I'm saying? I would do a hard no, like all the time, because I don't know what to expect in different environments, and I'm not a social butterfly. And when I own that I'm not a social butterfly, when the world told me I was, and I realized, yeah, you're actually not, embrace that. There's more people like you, Natalie, than you think. You don't have to show up as this person that you're not.
You know what? When we spoke earlier this week, there was something that you said that I thought was really interesting, and it would have been so easy for it to go like under the radar. But you spoke about attracting your audience.
Oh yeah, I'm big.
And
on
it was
that.
like even the wording of it was like interesting to me, because a lot of people, they, you know, when they're talking about marketing or social media, it's like getting followers or how can I go viral. But for you, it was like, I'm attracting my audience. It was like very intentional. And even when I go on your page, you have such like a variety of content. Like we were even joking before we started this of your day in the life video.
Yeah.
And it's like you have actually fun with social media. Like you actually have fun with the process.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to like hire somebody to go do my page, because it's like my page is a vibe. It's fun. Like literally I'll just sit in bed and go on this like content editing spree where I just like, oh, I need to talk about like the fruit I ate. Like it's so crazy, but it goes back to my core values. Your personal brand is a compilation of who you are and what you stand for, right? And back to what you mentioned, my page is very intentional. I attract my audience and I social sell. Social sales is my jam. When you look at my page, if you look at it maybe 8 times, you're gonna buy something if it's available. So that goes back to branding, your lead magnets, your journey, your offers, and all the things. I am my own client. I am beta testing my audience right now. What do they love? What do they want more of? But if I give them something I'm not willing to keep up, then that would not be real continuity in my brand building.
Explain that, because I want to make sure that people can understand that and use that in their life. Social sales. You're actually the first person I've heard refer to it like that. Explain what that is.
So social media essentially is a sales engine, right? Whether you have a podcast, whether you have a service, you literally can build a astronomical business from social media by being consistent, storytelling, right? So when you are focusing on social sales, you are showing up as your authentic self. You implement some storytelling. You implement some user-generated content, meaning that like day in a life is really user-generated content. So if you show me how you got to this, hey, I traveled from New York to Houston, and you know, you told them the life story, how you did it. You sold me on why I want to listen to it. That's social selling. If you just drop the episode and you don't tell me how you got here, I fall in love with the process. Your goal is for people to fall in love with the journey, like television, right? Most of your biggest brands, like they have you falling in love with the journey. When they do a drop, when they do a collaboration, you're in love with how that even happened. Oh, wow, these two people collaborated. I can see that happening. Why? Because you know both of them, and you now are studying the why behind their collaboration, then you want to buy it. That's what I do on my page. I am the brand, and these are the things that I decide that I want to sell. And I will socially have a conversation about it here and there. Sporadically. You got to catch it. You got to read the caption. You got to DM me. You got to read your emails, because I'm building a audience that loves my value and they're looking to grow, evolve, build.
You know what? It's I remember one of my mentors told me, he goes, Callum, people buy from people. And so it's like this thing of, sometimes it's like you see the day in the life, and I've heard this critique from people. They're like, oh, how does all of this lead to the sale? Because they're so focused on like that transactional sale.
Yeah.
And it's like what we're seeing now with social media and even how some of the biggest brands are being built. It's like it all starts with that insight. People buy from people. And when you're able to show that behind the scenes, when you're able to show that caption, which is like a window into your thoughts, it's like people start to see themselves in your story and what you have going on. They're like, I root for her. Like
they become vested.
Yeah.
Right? They become very invested in like what you're doing. In addition to that, the biggest business deals are not done in a conference room. They're done in usually social environments, golfing, dinners, connecting, follow-ups. Most business deals that are huge is not from the one-off. It's from the relationship building. You want to get to know who you're going to do business with. I study people. Sometimes if someone reaches out to me and I just pop up on their IG Live and they don't align with what I have going on, okay, cool. I'm not saying I'm judging anybody, but if you're cursing like a sailor, why would I want you to collaborate with me at my event? You might mess around. I got the pastor's wife there. And, again, I have a very mixed audience, but most of my audience wants to become better. So even if they live an alternative lifestyle, whatever they have going on, there's a desire for them to want to become better. I don't have a perfect audience, but my job is not to conform to where they're trying to run from. My job is to show them their new reality. My job is to remind them that it's possible. My job is to give them a glimpse of my past and bring them to my future. That's my job. I take my job on social media very serious. Yeah. Very serious. There's things on social media that's not there that go on in my life because I don't have time to post everything. But when I can tell a story that's relevant to the viewer and I feel like it will be impactful, I definitely share.
Yeah. We're going to get into step 3, but before, because you mentioned that you study people, I'm curious, like, who are the people that you learn from? Like, who are the people that you see and you're like, oh, they're doing this, even whether it's like a book, but like they're just doing this at a world-class level.
Yeah. So let's go social media, right? Definitely Sarah Jakes. Like Sarah Jakes Roberts is amazing to me. She's that girl. Like, she's that girl for real. Like, she's that woman that shows you that you can love the Lord, you can be fly, you can make some money, you can be a wife, you can be a mother, you can be raw and real. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you're that girl, So I love just watching her journey and just seeing her show up. Definitely someone that I admire, like a virtual mentor. I love Emma Grande. I love her, I'm just seeing.
Who is it? Emma Greed?
Greed. Oh God, I said it wrong, man. She's from London, right? My bad, girl.
She's from East London, yeah.
It's Emma
Greed, yeah.
I say Grande so much.
I got it wrong the first time.
Emma Greed.
Emma Greed.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her business acumen. I love her, just her clarity. I love her, like, she's just such a strategic businesswoman, right? Like I resonate with her so much. I just see the play-by-play for her. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a businesswoman, she's a bad gal, she's just all the things. I just love her. I love the way she dresses. Like, I really love her a lot, And I think it's important for a woman to really give another woman their flowers. So when I share these two women, it's like, oh my God, I love them for real. Love what they're doing. Layla Hermosi, love her. So crazy. I was just there in Vegas last week. My man gave me a gift of mentorship last week. We went to a workshop. And I literally had such a great time at the workshop and studying her online, learning from her, and just ran into her at the gym. Like, it's so crazy. We ran into the gym because I know how it feels to be in your safe place. And then we were going through a tour and I was like, I know. Wow. But the reality is, it wasn't like just, I want to interrupt your workout. It was like, man, I appreciate you. Because for me, Layla's just assertiveness, her confidence, like just how she serves Alex and supports him, is just so admirable to me. So admirable. I can go on, but definitely Kim Kardashian. I love me some Kim. Like, I just love Kim Kardashian. I think she's like one of the best kept secrets. As a businesswoman as well. Of course, her mom is amazing. And, Emma is a part of her camp as well. I just love how she's a great mom. She's assertive in her business. She's fly. I love her a lot. And then definitely my mentor, Lisa Nichols. I can go on. I probably have a list of 20, but I'm gonna stop here. Lisa Nichols, because she's impacted my life offline. It's her grace. It's her flow. It's just like, I've seen her literally, deal with so many fires. And just the way she just flows through life, it's like, this is crazy, So to see somebody on social media, online, be one of the most impactful women in the world, women speakers, all the things. And then in real life, seeing her elegance, just her humanity, I'm like, you are my role model, So check social media for the other women, but for you put me in a bind right now,
No, you did a great job. It's funny because I on the flight on the way to Houston, I was sitting next to this lady, black woman, and she was watching Emma Greed's podcast. Wow. So I feel like Emma Greed, her name has just been coming up a lot. We have to get her on the show.
So you have to get her on the show for multiple reasons. She's not new to this. She's really true to this. And before she's very strategic. Her husband and her are very strategic. They're very clear on the plate right now. She did the work and now it's just her time.
Yeah.
It is. And I think she's showing the girlies, this is how you do it. You can still be a feminine woman. You can still serve your husband and your kids and do all the things. And it's okay if your career had to, take little pivots, but just really setting her story, her foundation, I am definitely a fan. You have to get her on the show. Emma, for real.
We have to make that happen.
Yeah.
One of the things I love that even the way that you described it, because the things that, and I actually think, one thing I've noticed being in the space, I think women creators actually do a phenomenal job at this, is the fact they show you their life in a way that you can actually notice these traits about them. Yeah. You can actually see, and you can, even the way that you describe some of the people that you described, some of the women that you described, it's like you know them. You
I
really
feel
like you know them.
Yes. It's because it's how they show up. They give you a glimpse. They give you a window. They are so authentic to me. And they're not flashy. There's so many, I'm sure they have so many other things that they can show online, but they're showing you can have it all. It's not I love Mel Robbins too, but I can go. Oprah, oh my gosh. I love Oprah. Okay, sorry, let me calm down. Literally, I get excited because this is how I became who I am. I don't read my own press. I look at women and some men as well, because I can learn from everybody. But it's I like this about you. I want to learn this. I want to borrow this. And although I don't know any of them personally outside of the amazing Lisa Nichols, it's if you study someone's social media and their YouTube, they're giving you the play by play. Catch it.
Yeah. You know what? Step 3 is action. Do income producing activities daily. If you want to see real results, you have to do income generating activities each day. Can you talk about that?
Yes. One of the things I always tell my mentees and my clients is that, how you do anything is how you do everything. And the reason why this is so important is that I have to always be very mindful of how I spend my day. 2 reasons why. 1, energy is contagious, right? Somebody can call you about whatever is going on in their life, and then now you have literally exchanged energy with them, and now your day is bad. You have to ask yourself, before you answer the phone for others, do you have the capacity and the time to spend for on this call? Why not handle your business and call this person when you have a little bit of time? If it's an emergency, cool, answer it. But I have to be more mindful of that. The next thing is a routine. A routine matters to me. I live by a routine. My office hours is a routine. My self-care and worship in the morning is a routine. My nighttime routine is a routine. It's very strict over here for me because I am someone that used to spend so much time fantasizing about success and fantasizing about all the things and researching all the projects where I didn't get anything done. I have a to-do list every day. Sometimes it has to go to the next day. But in this season of my life, it's really critical for me to be mindful of my time. And if you spend 1 hour, that's 4% of your day. And I have to get rest. I don't want to, the motto, sleep till you die. Well, when you are dead, you can't think about anything. Heaven at that point, you know? I don't live by these things that society has created. I'm realizing that I have to create my own routine and what matters the most to me. So income producing activity is not always money, but if I can make some money to gain more time freedom, spend with family, spend with my loved ones, that's everything to me.
Yeah. You know what? Here's where I wanted to end, because I read out that quote when you said, "I've come to realize most girls don't want a lot." And then later on you said, "We want to make money not for status but for peace. We want to be closer to God, not because we're perfect, but because we're healing." And so even as I read it out, the question, like the thing that comes to mind for me, and you know, like we went through your story and like all of the ups and downs and like the dark moments, but also the moments that you made it, like we went through everything. Nathalie Nicole, sitting here today, would you say that you're at peace?
I would say that I'm finally getting at peace. So the reason why I say that is peace is an everyday commitment. Your peace and your joy can get stolen based upon an interaction. So I'm learning now to prioritize my peace. So my life is very peaceful now. All the moving parts in my life are not. You know, I'm still in transition right now in my life. You get what I'm saying? I'm in an intentional, serious relationship. I live in Houston. My partner lives in Atlanta, but I'm at peace with God, knowing that every single thing that's supposed to happen for me is going to work out. My business just opened up here in Houston, my new one. I don't have it all figured out, but I'm at peace with God keeping his hands on my business, and at peace that I am very clear on what I'm doing with this business. My network marketing business is still getting rebuilt right now. I'm at peace with knowing this is gonna work out. You get what I'm saying? I feel like peace is an everyday decision. You gotta choose every day. I'm gonna have peace in the flow.
It's the process.
It's the process.
Yeah. Nathalie Nicole, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you enjoyed this episode, you're going to absolutely love what we did with this one right here. Click here.